All right, your boy Gary Danielson is going to be on the call for the CBS game this weekend, Georgia and LSU. And CBS sent something out about Gary talking about all sorts of things, the LSU Georgia game, the college football playoff rankings. The one thing that caught my eye was his quote here about Georgia and Michigan. Let's not forget that Gary Danielson played for the Lions and lived in Michigan for some time. If that matters, I don't know. But here's what he had to say. He said, I think that Georgia and Michigan are about even in this thing right now. It'd be tough to split them up. That performance that Michigan had against Ohio State was something. If we take a little bit of a step back to 1 week earlier, they could have very easily lost that game to Illinois. Everybody always takes the last look at the team, and that's the way we're going to go. That's the way they're going to play every game going forward. Michigan got hot, and I think that's Ohio State's game plan against that. I think that Ohio State's game plan against them was not very sound on defense. So he he mentioned Georgia. Um, Look, Georgia's the favorite to win the national championship. Whether I think it, Gary Danielson thinks it, or Joel Klatt or Kirk Herbstreit, it doesn't matter. They're the favorite, and uh, you know Michigan doesn't need help. They're clearly in this thing. But when you look at the futures market, Georgia is almost, I don't know if that's triple the value, triple the favorite of Michigan, but it's very high. Right now, Las Vegas is only uh, featuring national championship odds on these six teams: Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, USC, TCU, and Alabama. Georgia and Michigan are the highest two. Ohio State is the third betting favorite. They got to have a few things go their way to get into the college football playoff. One very specific thing, which is USC losing. USC is fourth in the betting, and then TCU, which just has to win a game, uh, is fifth, and Alabama sixth. Alabama is a sucker bet. So anybody that thinks that that's a smart play, I don't think they kind of understand the situation. But Georgia is sitting at around, and then negative 160 in terms of American odds, giving them about a 62% chance of winning the national championship. Michigan is at plus 300, and that would put them at around 25%. So not three times the probability according to odds makers, but somewhere up there. So I'm not quite sure what Gary Danielson's talking about. We still have a few, and when I say a few, I mean we're running out of them quickly. Dog instructions that are signed by Georgia corner and coverman Kelee Ringo. We also have dog instructions while they last. Frankly, I mean we're in a bit of a transition time right now with the holidays coming up. People are buying like crazy. I'm going to run out of books. I'm just going to tell you that right now. I'm going to run out of regular books, and I'm going to run out of autographed books. So order them today so you don't miss out. I have not enough to get me to Christmas, and I'm not reordering. It just doesn't make sense. And obviously, I can't make Kelee re-sign, so get them now. I also, I think some of the stuff that Gary talked about, he says, talking about who will be the difference maker in this game. He says, if you're LSU, it better be your quarterback. If not, I don't know what they turn to. For Georgia, the difference maker they want is to be their offensive line. They're playing an incredible brand of football right now. Their line, uh, gosh, that's a typo. Their line believes nobody can stop them. They're gashing people with their tight ends in combination with their line, and their running backs are physical, competent football players right now. If you look at it, Michigan and Georgia are mirror images of each other. One other addition here, Michigan losing a very good running back. That was not known when CBS sent this out. I know that's a pretty bad typo right there in the word there. But anyway, um, one other thing, if you're still looking for tickets to this game, please be certain to go to Ticket IQ. We've got a code for you, DogPost10. You enter DogPost10 on Ticket IQ, and you're going to have the ability. I'm going to show you this just for a second to see what you're looking at the at Ticket IQ. Just briefly, stick with me here. Let me get on this right now. So here's Ticket IQ. It's loading, and you can see there's a fair amount of stuff in it, but you're gonna get that money off um, when you put the code DawgPost10 in there. So there's plenty of seats available, and they're going around the 220. The get-in price looks like it's somewhere around 220. There's no fees with Ticket IQ. There's no silliness, more importantly, with Ticket IQ. So make sure that you're taking advantage of it. They've been a great friend of the program and show. Um, I think Georgia quite clearly is favored coming into this thing. They're a massive 17-point favorite, which is not nothing. 17 and a half, 18 and a half. It keeps kind of juggling all over the place. I think Gary Danielson, as much grief as folks give him, I'm not sure I get too involved in that. It's not something that really bothers me. I don't listen to the games. I'm at the games. But I think when I do listen to him when Georgia's not playing, I mean, I think he talks about Georgia and Alabama a lot because they've been really good for a long time. Here's one thing that he said that was kind of interesting. He said, on the other side of the field, I think Georgia's going to say, quote, let's not do something where we have a chance to lose this game. He goes on to say, that doesn't mean we're not going to throw the ball deep because it's not the end of the world to throw a 40-yard interception. But I don't think they'll take chances with Stetson Bennett throwing the ball over the middle of the field in this game and risk a turnover. Georgia believes they're the better team, and if they play conservatively, they will win and move on with the first seed and be able to play their next game. The motivation for Georgia in this is they really want to keep that number one seed and play another game in Atlanta and not have Michigan jump in the Atlanta spot again. And Gary's thinking the same way I am. This game, if Georgia loses it, is going to stick Michigan in Atlanta, and that's not what you want if you're the Georgia Bulldogs. You want to um, win this game against LSU, not take any risks, be the number one seed, play in Atlanta for the third time this season, and oh man, probably the night game. Um, if it's SC Georgia, if it's Georgia, whoever's playing TCU, baby, you're kicking off at 4 o'clock. That's what's happening. Okay. I'm obviously not a television executive, but I do pay attention to these matters. It's going to be TCU at the 4 o'clock spot because the brands that are Georgia, Michigan, and SC, they're just too big to ignore a matchup between one of those two teams, or two of those three teams. That's going to be the primetime game. And they're going to try to push this thing over 20 million viewers again. I mean, we are only now starting to crawl out of the shifting matrix that was COVID viewing in the United States from 2020 on. The Cowboys Giants game got more than 40 million viewers on Thanksgiving. Team USA. I don't think we call men's soccer Team USA. That's more of an Olympic term. But the United States soccer team, the men's team in the World Cup, they're getting massive numbers. 17, I think it's 14, 17 million viewers. It's a significant number for soccer in the United States of America. So I think people are returning to their television roots. What does that mean for Georgia? It just means that if they're playing TCU, they're playing in the afternoon, which is fine with somebody right here. But if you're talking about Georgia playing USC, Georgia playing Ohio State, Michigan playing USC, because they're not going to play Ohio State. I mean, come on. So in any of those scenarios, those would be primetime games. However, all that said, if I'm if you're asking me today, what time will Georgia's game in Atlanta be? I would say that would probably be the primetime game because the probability shows that they'll be playing either USC, excuse me, or Ohio State. I think there are some questions coming into this weekend about what really happens if we see a just weird stuff. Let's give Georgia and Michigan wins, and then Ohio State, excuse me, and then TCU and SC lose. I think in that scenario, it would almost be like the both of them winning. Alabama's not getting into this thing, so that's just not based in reality. But let's say that Texas Christian and Southern California both lose, like how I used their big names. Um, I think in that scenario, you'd keep TCU and SC would get replaced by Ohio State. Two-loss SC would head to the Rose Bowl. Well, no, they would head to the Cotton Bowl. Yeesh. To play probably Tulane, the winner of the Tulane UCF game. So that would be a stunning fall because Utah would have won and earned the right to go to the Rose Bowl. Um, Utah's going to the Rose Bowl either way. If SC beats them, they're going as the Pac-12 replacement. If they win, they're going as the Pac-12 champion. So Utah is going to the Rose Bowl for the second year in a row. This time they will probably play Penn State. But I think if Texas Christian loses, that becomes and no one else does, that becomes a little bit more of a curious situation. I think at that stage, SC moves up to the 3. Georgia then would probably play TCU. I'm not certain about that, but they would probably play TCU. TCU's beaten every team they played this year. That's not going to change this weekend. But anyway, that's what Gary had to say. Pick up DAWGSTRUCTION before I run out of them, y'all.